good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you who are watching this podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel because I will have many different videos coming up in the future, mostly about my life in the rural areas of the Albanian Alps. My life with the bees, with agriculture, with my Airbnb, with tourism, and whatnot. However, this particular episode has to do with the corruption in the port of Bar in Montenegro. Many of you know me, and many of you are from this part of the world, and eventually you will think of sending a car here. So I'm going to tell you how that works. In March of 2022, my friends, me and my family, we decided to purchase a handicap accessible van for my brother Ambrose, who is in a wheelchair. After we purchased the van, I'd never shipped a car to Europe before in my life, so I asked a friend of mine who naively recommended a shipping company in New Jersey called Alba Shipping and said he's a nice guy, he'll do whatever it needs to be done, and just go see him. So I called him, I went, I did all the paperwork. He seemed like a really nice guy, and the paperwork from any shipping company, it's a lot of pages that nobody literally reads, and you just gotta sign and whatever. So the thing was that the shipping agent from the United States told me, we'll take care of everything. You need to bring us your title. For most of you who live in the United States, you know what a car title is. It's issued by the state. It is literally a deed on the fact that you own the car, and there's no loan, there's no money owed to the car, because you cannot ship a car unless it's paid. For anyone who never had to get a duplicate title, it takes a couple of weeks to get a duplicate title. So it's very important to keep the title in a safe place because it's the proof that you own the car. So Alba Shipping made me sign a bunch of papers, told me I can fill up the car with boxes of personal items, why send the car empty, and whatnot, which I did. The charge to ship the car from United States to port of Bar in Montenegro was $1,300. The agent told me, we have an agent in Montenegro. When the car gets there, you go, you pick it up, he brings it out, gives you the keys, gives you the title, and that's that. We shipped the car on April 15th of 2022. Ambrose's birthday was on May 31st. So I was hoping that he might get the car for his birthday because Alba Shipping said it takes 4 to 6 weeks for the car to get there. And that's exactly the time period that was before his birthday. However, the car got here in August 15th. So it was 4 months later. Considering the world situation, the war in Ukraine, the sanctions against the Russian shipping companies and all that, that's forgiven. There was no control over the shipping from the shipping company in New York. However, when I went to pick up the car, we called the agent, met him at the port, and before we did any type of paper exchange or whatnot, he asked me for 575 euros. So I said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you're going to pay 575 euros. And I was like, for what? He says, well, it's port fees, and we got to give $40 to the cop in the front so he can let you go in because you are not allowed to go in. And we got to give $100 to the customs officer so he doesn't look at the car. And we got to give $40 to that guy and $20 to that guy. And it was just a bunch of numbers thrown at me. So my questioning was like, you're asking me to bribe a police officer to go and do something illegal since I am not allowed to go in there? Well, he goes, everybody does that and everybody knows it. So I said, okay, give me the bill of what I'm paying. Oh, there is no bill. So back and forth. And at one point he said, well, you can do it either this way or we can do it another way. So when I asked him what another way is, he said, well, you will find out. I was desperate to get the car to my brother because, again, as I said, he's in a wheelchair, he's a handicap, and the car is a handicap accessible car. So I paid the money and got the car. I called the agent in New Jersey, and I told him the story. And I said, what was this? I said, you told me that that's it. People are going to bring the car outside, and that's it. Oh, yeah, but everybody knows that you got to pay over there, and that's how it works, and you have to bribe everybody. And I said, well, you did not tell me this when I shipped the car. Well, everybody knows that. I was like, well, I didn't know that. So I also shipped my own car, a Ford Escape, 5-year-old Ford Escape, which was to come a couple of weeks after my brother's car. So all over the port of Bar, they have all these anti-corruption messages and banners about calling for corruption and whatnot. So I called the anti-corruption agency and I asked them, I explained the situation and I asked them if they can send an undercover agent with me in a couple of weeks so I can pick up my car and that we can prove the corruption.
Ford Escape po onoj tracking kaže da je došlo danas u bar.
Jel tako jeste? A šta imate vi, koji auto?
Ford Escape iz New Yorka.
Samo sekund.
Bruno je poslao.
To je ovo što je zvao bio iz bara, Đenašević, jel?
Yes, Hamza, yes.
Hamza, Ford Escape, tako ima. Brod stiže, najava broda, dolazak je za 24. avgust u 12 sati. To je očekivano vrijeme dolaska ovog broda.
A mene ovdje kaže da je stigao brod u bar.
A ko vam je to rekao?
Na njihovu website.
Ja sam, ne znam što vam kažem, ja sam dobio oficijalno najavu dolaska za sjutra.
Dobro, a
12 sati, nema broda u luci bar, ja sam počitavam po luci.
A reci mi, a kad mogu ja da dođem da ih uzmem?
Ja to ne znam, u ovom momentu, vjerujte mi. Ne znam koliko će da radi brod prvo, razumijete?
A reći mi, jer posljednji put kad sam bio tamo, ono mene košta 570 eura, a mene je Bruno bio rekao ne košta ti ništa, mi smo platili trtara vrtara. Koliko će ovo mene da košta da ja donesem?
To da košta 450 eura, ne znam kako je koštalo 570, to ne znam gdje ste bili, kod koga ste bili. 450 eura
kod vašega čovjeka sam ja bio, ja nisam otišao sam tamo.
Sve vas razumijem, ali ono što imate da platite na carinu, što imate da platite to su dodatni troškovi.
Pa šta da platim na carinu kad su to svoje bili moje personalne stvari? Kaže, ja sam platio 40, slušajte Miki, ja sam platio tom vašem radniku 40 eura, kaže mi da prođeš tamo jer ti ne smiješ da prođeš tamo. Ja mu kažem, pa kako ja plaćam da kršim zakon. I 20 ovome policajcu i 70 cariniku i ovome onome, 570 eura mi je koštalo. Ja samo ovdje u Crnu Goru sam vidio da ja moram da platim, da ja kršim zakon. Ako ja ne smijem da uđem u luku, onda zašto sam ja otišao u luku? Mene je Bruno rekao da ja čekam vani, da će mene kola doći vani. A i mene nisu kola došli vani, onaj vaš radnik mi je rekao ili ovako ili možemo drugče.
Kako drugše?
To on zna. A to su bila kola od moga brata koji je hendikepiran. Ja nisam htio da se svađam za njega, nego da uzmem kola da...
A kad je to bilo, izvinite?
Prije 2 nedelje. I bio je moj brat od ujaka, on je htio da se tuče s njim. Kaže, šta je ovome?
S kime se bi?
Pa s ovim vašim radnikom.
A što me niste onda zvali, izvinite?
Pa to je vaš radnik Miki, on ne radi za mene.
Pa dobro li, zašto me niste zvali onda to?
Pa šta da zovem, za šta? Zato zovem danas da pitam koliko para da donesem sa sobom.
Gospodine, ja ne znam što se nalazi u vašem autu, razumijete?
Ništa, nalaze se moje pantalone, moje gaće, moje čarape.
Čekaj, samo moment, molim vas, ako možemo pričamo normalno, možemo.
Možemo.
Apsolutno nije problem. Znači, i ja Vi trebate agenciji da plate našu ovdje 450 eura.
Dobro.
Što će i kako će carina da tretira robu vašu unutra, ja to ne znam.
Ja znam kako je zakon. Zakon je, nema carine za moju potrebnu, za moje pantalone koje su...
Ne, gospodine, do 70 eura vrednosti robe, ako već pričamo o zakonu. Sve što imate preko 70 eura podliježe carini.
Moja roba, moje pantalone što sam upotrebio u Ameriku, ja moram da platim carinu.
Ovako ćemo mi da uradimo. Vi ćete doći na carinu, vi ćete sami carinu da pričate i to je to.
Može.
Pa ćete vi carinu da kažete, recite vi carini kakav je carinski zakon.
Oću.
Tako je najbolje.
Oću.
Tako je najbolje da vi njima kažete koliko je taj carinski zakon, kako je carinski zakon, kako vi tumačite carinski zakon, to je možda i najbolje.
Dobro, a recite...
Ja ću lično dođem da vam dam.
Dobro, bravo. I onda ti mene reci kakav je zakon da ja moram da platim 40 eura da uđem unutra, pošto ja ne smijem da uđem unutra.
Vi ne možete da uđete unutra i nećete ni ući, čekat ćete, a ja ću zamoliti carnika da dođe ispred kapije.
Dobro, onda...
So I called the anti-corruption number and I tried to get them to send an undercover agent with me on the next pickup of my car, and they gave me all kind of runaround that it doesn't work like that I have to actually corrupt the officials, then go to the police station, they file a complaint against them, then the police station will give it to the state prosecutor will look at it, and it will take years. So apparently even the anti-corruption agency is kind of involved with the corruption. That's my opinion, personal opinion. In any case, I could not find, I spoke to a couple of local police officers. I spoke to a police officer who actually works for the border patrol. And all of them told me, no, don't do it. Stay out of it. They mafia. They're going to come after you. You don't know who you're dealing with and whatnot. From all the people that I had many conversations, I found one young female journalist that works for the independent newspaper called VST, who was willing to come and literally do an undercover stint with me, making believe that she's my wife so she can write the article about the corruption. Unfortunately, the day that my car arrived, she was in a journalist conference in Germany, so she could not come with me. So I picked up... my brother actually picked me up in Podgorica. I took a bus. My brother picked me up in Podgorica, and we went to pick up my car. Before I went to pick up the car, I called the agent in Bar, and this is the phone conversation you are going to hear between us about the fees that they were charging. And you'll hear, and I'll translate the whole conversation with him on the phone. When we went to pick up the car, he showed up and basically said the same thing. You need to pay, in this case, it was 550 euros to pick up the car, and the explanation was that everybody pays that, and everybody knows that everybody pays that, so I don't know why you're making a big deal out of it. So when I asked him to give me a bill about it, he said, there is no bill. So I said, I don't want to pay for the money. And he said, okay, then when you bring me the title of the car, you can pick up the car. However, the shipping company in New York puts the title of the car in the car and ships it with the car. So the car and the title come together. Again, as I said before, in New York, you need a couple of weeks to get a new title, and you have to have a physical address, otherwise they won't send the title internationally and whatnot. So it was a catch-22, basically. So I told him, you have the title in the car. He said, no, I don't. I said, yes, you do. Yes, no, back and forth. I called the agent in New York, 10 o'clock in the morning, Montenegro time, 4 o'clock in the morning, US time. And I told him basically what the fuck is going on. And he said, well, everybody's got to pay. And I said, well, where's my title? And he said, well, I don't know. I got to go to the office and see. Maybe I didn't send it. But just pay him the money and he'll give you the car. I said, he just told me he doesn't have the title. He cannot give me the car without a title. Well, give him the money and see what happens. So I really wanted my car, and I also was warned that if you don't pay the money and if you don't pick up the car, and the car stays there for 2-3 weeks, a month, they will steal everything from the car, and they will break your windshield, they will break your tires, and when you go to pick up the car, they'll say, well, you didn't get insurance from United States for protection, which nobody does. In any case, I paid the money, and the agent said, let me see what I can do. He got in his car, literally drove around the block, came back within 1 minute with the title in his hand. So he had the title all along. So I am almost 100% sure, positive, that the shipping company in New York, it's in cahoots with the shipping agents in Montenegro, and they all know what's going on, and he knows what's going on, and he gets a kickback from that. That's my opinion. Again, as I said before, the United States title looks something like this, and you will see it. I will put a picture as well. It has to be an original. They won't accept a copy of it. I had the picture of the title in my phone, and he said, no, I need the original title. And needless to say, I had to pay $550 to get my car. The purpose of this video is that if you are to ship a car from the United States, I'm not saying don't use Alba Shipping. I'm not saying don't use anybody. There's plenty of shipping companies. But make sure you get all the details on how much money is going to cost you when you come here. Apparently, I was lucky and only paid once $575 and once $500, because apparently people pay thousands of dollars to get their own cars, and they don't complain because everybody does it, and that's how it is. So on a scale of corruption at the port of Bar, where they, I think, so far confiscated over 3 billion cigarettes and hundreds of kilos of cocaine, nobody pays attention to this little scale of car corruption. But there are thousands of cars that come. If you come to my hometown in the summer, 70% of the cars are American imported cars that everybody paid these fees. So you multiply thousands of cars by 1,000 euros, that's a lot of money that is going into somebody's pocket and not into the state budget or into the actual port of Bar for improvements. This is all money that is literally being stolen by us. From us, excuse me, not by us, but from us. So when you want to ship a car, you go to any shipping company. There are many Croatian companies that are apparently much better than the Montenegrin ones or the Albanian ones. You go to the shipping company and you tell them to give you a detailed bill of what you're going to pay. Simple as that. That's the reason why I made this video, because I know many of you are going to come visit in the summer and send the cars here and whatnot. So don't get caught by a surprise, and hopefully this will put at least a small dent on the corruption of the port of Montenegro. I called the directory of the customs many times to get reports on corruption and whatnot, and everybody gave me a runaround, and nobody's cooperative and whatnot. I spent weeks and weeks and weeks doing research, and I'm pretty good at doing research on internet and on all the government websites and whatnot. And the only report I found was from 2018. And according to this report from 2018, there was about 60 customs officers in 2018 that took different courses on against corruption, 60 of them. However, in the entire year of 2018, according to this report, there were only 36 complaints about the corruption in the port of Montenegro. Realistically, it should be 36 complaints a day. But it was 36 complaints in the entire year. And out of those 36 complaints, there were 3 cases where they actually investigated. And one case investigated for corruption on a heavy scale, and one case of corruption in the entire year, there were 4 investigations out of 36 complaints. It sounds unbelievable. It sounds like this is not a country, but this is like some small village, like my village, that has a population of 7. In any case, that's that. I have plenty of paperwork here and a lot of stuff to talk about, but I beg all of you who want to ship cars to Montenegro to talk to the shipping company in New York and make sure you have everything black and white, and don't fall for this stupid corruption and basically robbing you blind. And I know I don't have the capacity, I don't have the resources to go after the state corruption and the mafia, but at least, before you ship your car, ask how much you're going to pay, what are you going to pay, why you're going to pay it, and whatnot. That's all for this podcast. Next one is going to be much more fun. We're going to talk about bees. We're going to talk about my town. We're going to be talking about snow, tourism, and all that. But in this case, please share the video to all your friends. Make sure you don't fall victim of this stupid corruption in a country of 600,000. Montenegro has a population of 600,000. So it really, the immigrants who live in the United States and all over the world that spend millions of dollars investments back home. We all do our own roads, electricity, lighting, plumbing. The government doesn't really invest anything in our region. Don't fall victim to the corruption of the Port of Bar corrupted officials and their cohorts in the United States in the shipping companies. Simple. Just tell them, give me the details on how much my car is going to cost to be shipped from United States to Montenegro or Albania in that case, and don't fall victim. And if you do fall victim, please make it known to other people that it is illegal and the government is really not doing much about it. Until next time, from Gusinja, Giovanni Nicci, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and have your friends subscribe to the channel as well, because again, the following podcasts are going to be a lot of fun. Have a good one, everybody.